Hi, this is Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to episode 22 of Groundhog Day. Welcome to episode 22 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. Well, it's happened again. The Amiga name and all of its trademarks have been bought out. Yep, 2019, Commodore went out of business in 95. Once again, the rights and the names have been bought out. This time, on February 1st, 2019, Bill McEwen, the holder of Amiga Inc., signed over all of the trademarks for Amiga Inc. to a holding company called CA Acquisitions, which is owned by Mike Badalana. All right, this means that all of the trademarks for Amiga Inc. and any of the intellectual property that Bill McEwen owned is now owned by the same company that owns Cloanto. Personally, I've not heard Bill McEwen's name in years, literally years, and I did not know he still owned anything related to the Amiga. After Amiga Inc. made some really questionable decisions back in the 2000s. Does anyone remember those compact flash cards that they came out with some really strange and almost unheard of Amiga software that we could use in our pocket PCs? And this was like in 2003 when pocket PCs were no more popular. Or the other brilliant decision, which was to license some of that same almost unknown Amiga software to BlackBerry for the BlackBerry Play Store. This is a couple years after iOS and Android had already completely obliterated BlackBerry's market share. Did it come out for the Android and iOS? Came out for the BlackBerry. Good idea, Bill. So, I'm sure that any of us could have made better decisions with what to do with the Amiga name. And personally, it seems like most people who were involved with the Amiga just ignored Amiga Inc. for like the past 10, 15 years, and they just pretended it didn't exist. Worthless. Now, I remember I would check on their website a few times a year through the 2000s and 2010s and so on, and up until like 2017 when it finally vanished. And they'd have some fancy, flashy graphics on there, and they'd be making insinuations about they were doing something really important, really great with multimedia and data, but they'd never really say what it was they were doing. Then they'd have these testimonials for people who had worked with them, and you never knew anything about the companies that made these testimonials. Yeah, Bob Smith, I went with Amiga Inc. and they're the best. Well, what do you do, Bob Smith? Have a lawnmower service? What did they do? I don't know. So at least one thing they did that was not totally silly was sell some of the rights for the Amiga name to Cloanto and some to Hyperion, two names that we've definitely heard before. And it was always murky exactly what rights these companies held. Hyperion was handling OS 4.1 in some form or another, but very little ever seemed to happen with it. And then Cloanto was distributing Amiga OS 1.3 through 3.1 and their kickstarts through the Amiga Forever package, which is basically just a rebundled WinUAE. And nobody ever really used the funky Cloanto front end for Amiga Forever. We just all use WinUAE. And I've been involved with technology for over 35 years, and when I try to actually use the Amiga Forever interface, I just stare at it and I'm looking like, who thought this up? Why would you do it that way? I don't know. It's just not well-designed software. And I know somebody worked hard to write that software front end for WinUAE, the Amiga Forever software. And I'm sorry if I'm hurting your feelings, but it's bad. It's like Clippy the Paperclip bad. All right? And now I've purchased Amiga Forever twice over the years. First license I lost. Who knows where it is? So I bought a second copy last year. Love it to pieces. Use it all the time with the WinUAE, but I'm happy to pay Cloanto the 30 or 40 bucks for the license for Amiga OS and for the license for the ROMs. Happy to do it. They deserve every penny that I've sent to them. Now, besides these two things, actual Amiga Technologies has been kind of stagnant since like 2002. And I mean, Amiga OS 4.1 is hung in there, and it's gotten some updates over the years, and it definitely has its fans, and nothing against the fans, but it's been pretty much the same thing for like the past 12 or 14 years. I mean, what really has changed? Until a few years ago, we started to see some stirrings of life, and that's when WinUAE was updated to emulate a PowerPC, so suddenly our PCs could run Amiga OS 4.1, and wow, people started paying a little attention, which is kind of nice. About that same time, interest in the 68K machine started to take off again. More YouTube channels, more blogs, more websites started to crop up about our beloved platform. And then the impossible happened. Last year, rumors about an actual update to Amiga OS started to circulate. And a few months ago, Amiga OS 3.1.4 was announced and then actually released as a product we could purchase to the public. Bugs were fixed, features were added, and lawsuits were filed. Now, I already did a video a couple of months ago about the lawsuit, Cloanto versus Hyperion, and I won't spend a lot of time rehashing my opinions here. Work it out, guys. But I will say that there's more interest in the Amiga now than there has been in almost 2 decades. And if the two parties that have some rights to what is left of our Amiga name put each other out of business in some silly court battle, it will do zero for the small but active Amiga community that exists. Nothing. It will do nothing for us. Now, I'm no lawyer, but let me see if I can understand what's happened. Now, Hyperion felt that they had some rights to the original Amiga OS 3.1 code and organized a group of volunteers to update and patch the software to work better with today's technology. So they did, hence Amiga OS 3.1.4. Now, Cloanto, who's been asleep at the wheel with the rights they did have, was happy selling a few hundred copies of Amiga Forever every year. And they didn't like the fact that Hyperion took this initiative, so they filed a lawsuit to stop Hyperion from selling Amiga OS 3.1.4. Now, Hyperion makes a motion to dismiss the lawsuit on some shaky legal grounds and continues to sell Amiga OS 3.1.4. So, Cloanto hurries up and releases a new version of Amiga Forever and pushes it out the door. See, we're still marketing Amiga products. See, they're hurting us. We're still marketing it. They hadn't done anything in years. And they also just released an updated Personal Paint that's for sale now. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to send my money to Cloanto. Personal Paint's great software. But we know why you did it, to prove that you're actually, still in the business and still marketing software and being harmed. Now, at about this time, Bill McEwen gets a phone call interrupting him from watching The View or The Price is Right or whatever he's doing nowadays, because we know he's not doing anything with the Amiga. I still own some rights. Oh, sure. You want me to sneakily sell them to you on February 1st and put the company in your name? Sure, why not? And he goes back to watching The View, probably. Now, after this, Hyperion gets a letter from Cloanto's lawyer saying, ha, guess what? Our client now owns everything. So, basically, pick one of these fingers, anyone you want to, and that's what Cloanto just sent to Hyperion. This would appear to put Hyperion at a major disadvantage here. It's one thing to lawyer up and fight for some wording on a third-party contract, okay? But when one of the third parties ups and buys out the first party who created the contract, well, that's a whole new can of worms, and what can you do? Now, I'm sure there's plenty of blame to go around here. Should Hyperion have received permission from the crumbled remnants of Amiga Inc. Before releasing Amiga OS 3.1.4? Yes, they should have. That would be the right thing to do. Should Cloanto have maybe thought about creating an actual good product and updating it over the years with their license years ago? Yes, they should have done that. They shouldn't have been resting on their lawyers and not done anything with their license. Should both parties have worked something out where Hyperion maybe takes the lead in development and sales, and maybe Cloanto continues selling Amiga forever with legal Amiga OS 3.1.4 ROMs, and allowed to sell the disk and ROMs too? Yeah, that'd have been a good way to work it out, maybe. They should have talked about it. But that's not what happened, okay? And because of this, there's a very real chance that Hyperion will no longer be able to sell its Amiga OS 3.1.4 software, and the property will be taken over by Cloanto. Again, who knows if that's what's going to happen, but I can see how it could happen. Now the question is, if this happens, what will Cloanto do with the technology? Will they sit on it for another 15 years? Will they take the reins and actually market and continue to update it now that they have the rights and they see that the community is interested? And will the Amiga community be forgiving to Cloanto if this happens? Or will they give them, again, pick whatever figure you want to and send that directly to Cloanto? I don't know. And where does this leave the Amiga OS 3.1.4 developers, who are awesome guys, by the way? I've communicated with several of them, fantastic guys. They were unpaid volunteers. Now, will they continue to do work for Cloanto? And will Cloanto actually pay them for their hard work, as they should have been paid to begin with, since this is a retail product? Absolutely, my opinion is the people who wrote the code should be reimbursed. Don't know. There's no perfect solutions for anybody. I have to give credit to Cloanto for taking the initiative and actually doing something by creating this new Amiga OS. And we have to understand that intellectual property is a real thing. And if Cloanto did hold the rights, they absolutely had the rights to go after Hyperion for some money. Now, I truly hope this can be worked out quickly without causing further harm to the Amiga community. I'd love to see CA Acquisitions take their newfound license and actually do something with it. Cloanto was already involved with the C64 Mini, which is a great product that I love. I own one. And it's doing okay. Let's get the Amiga Mini licensed, all right? Let's push for new software for Amiga OS 4.1 so we have a motivation to buy it and load it on our PCs. And heck, let's even team up with the Apollo Vampire people to get a standalone Vampire with a legal copy of Amiga OS 3.1.4 already installed and available and distributed with the Vampire in a standalone machine. How cool would that be? Why not? Now, the Amiga teetered on the edge for years and then crashed down hard around 2000. Hard, okay? It was down, but not dead, throughout the early 2000s up through 2010. And it has finally found a little bit of footing, all right? And it's slowly building itself back up. Don't let it crash down again, okay? Don't let it. My rant is over. This is Doug from 10 Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out.